Episode 56 Fu July 6, 2023. Arkansas County burning proposal loses. El Salvador wood burning stoves. German climate goals. United States fireworks. Fireworks can make bad air quality even worse. For some cities, the answer is drones. Adafruit blog. During average years, July 4th brings a sizable 42% increase in the level of fine particulate pollutants, also known as PM 2.5, across the U.S. Georgia Public Broadcasting. July 3, 2023. Fine particulate pollutants, also known as PM 2.5, across the U.S., putting it in line with some wildfire events. For some cities, the answer is drones. An aerial drone display by approximately 500 drones hovers over the Garonne River in Bordeaux, France on June 23, 2023. Some U.S. cities are planning their own drone shows as an alternative to 4th of July fireworks. Rosep View. This Washington, D.C. forecast of high PM 2.5 on the 4th of July also includes information about how to get closer to the pollution, with a full list of places to view the fireworks. Red, white, blue and code orange, how fireworks will impact air quality, WUSA 9. WUSA 9. July 3, 2023. In fact, PM 2.5, or particulate matter 2.5, the tiny particles or droplets in the air that are 2 and A. United States. Red, white, blue and code orange, how fireworks will impact air quality. Canadian wildfire smoke is not the only pollutant to be wary of over the next couple of days. Smoke from fireworks will temporarily worsen air quality. July 3, 2023. Updated, July 5, 2023. Excerpts edited by Rosep for brevity and clarity, and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Washington. PM 2.5, particulate matter 2.5 micrometers wide, measures the highest on July 4. According to the U.S. average PM 2.5 for each day of the year, there is a 40% to 50% spike on the 4th of July through the 5th. A similar spike can be seen on New Year's Day. The Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments is forecasting code orange air quality for the D.C. region July 4 through July 6. NASA. The U.S. average PM 2.5 for each day of the year. The Independence Day pollutants will largely be the result of firework smoke. Code orange means some groups need to limit time spent outdoors and keep windows and doors closed. Clearest view of D.C.'s fireworks is on Potomac River. If you're attending a firework display as big as the National Mall show or as small as a backyard display and want to avoid high concentrations of PM 2.5, steer clear of the point of launch and watch the show from an area upwind of the smoke. Tuesday night breezes will be very light and variable. Smoke will linger longer without a steady wind to clear it out. Check out a full list of the best places to watch fireworks from around DC here. Rosep View. This PBS article about wildfire smoke begins with a description of indoor residential wood burning as a cozy fire. If people are informed that indoor residential wood burning affects their health adversely and leads to early deaths, would those people exposed to the wood smoke really describe it as cozy? In real life, where people are inhaling the wood smoke instead of merely seeing it on a screen, perhaps the concept of wood burning as cozy is outmoded, except in the media. United States. Historically there are nearly twice as many wildfires in the West on the 4th of July. Analysis. Nearly twice as many wildfires are recorded on July 4th as other days in the West. PBS. A cozy warm fire burn in a wood stove nation July 2nd. EPA faces lawsuit from 10 states over emissions standards for residential wood-burning stoves. Analysis. Nearly twice as many wildfires are recorded on July 4th as other days in the West. July 4, 2023. Over the past 2 decades, a staggering 21.8 million Americans found themselves living within 3 miles of a large wildfire. Excerpts edited by Rosep for brevity and clarity, and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Most of those residents would have had to evacuate, and many would have been exposed to smoke from the fire. Nearly 600,000 of them were directly exposed to the fire, with their homes inside the wildfire perimeter. Houses are being built deeper into the wildland areas, but population growth in these high-risk areas explained only a small part of the increase in the number of people who were exposed to wildfires. Instead, 3/4 of this trend was driven by intense fires growing out of control and encroaching on existing communities. There is a risk from human activities, such as fireworks on July 4th, a day when wildfire ignitions spike. where wildfire exposure was highest. Researchers analyzed the annual boundaries of 15,000 large wildfires across the lower 48 states to estimate the number of people exposed to those fires. Fires generally burn in patches rather than as a wall of flame, and pockets of homes survive. 80% of the human exposure to wildfires within a wildfire boundary from 2000 to 2019 was in western states. California stood out. More than 70% of Americans directly exposed to wildfires were in California, but only 15% of the area burned was there. Hot, dry weather such as California often sees during its hottest, driest months, a spark, from a power line, campfire, or lightning, can start a wildfire that quickly spreads. Recent research published in June 2023 shows that almost all of the increase in California's burned area in recent decades has been due to anthropogenic climate change caused by humans. 3/4 of that 125% increase in exposure was due to fires encroaching on existing communities. The total burned area increased only 38%, but locations of intense fires near towns and cities put lives at risk. In California, wildfire catastrophes hit communities that had existed long before 2000. Dry, hot, windy conditions have become increasingly frequent because of climate change. Wildfires have occurred in the high mountains in recent decades. Fires have been burning there at unprecedented rates in recent years, because of warming and drying trends in the western U.S. Even in conservative scenarios, the amount of area that burns in western wildfires is projected to grow in the next few decades. United States, 10 states suing the EPA. Rosep view, hopefully, the majority of the 10 states suing the EPA over wood-burning stove standards are suing to achieve the aim of making the EPA to adopt stricter PM 2.5 emission limits. States may sue EPA over wood-burning stove standards. What to know about Forbes. Fine particles released when wood is burned can cause serious health issues, like chronic lung disease and lung cancer. States plan suit over residential wood-burning stove standards. Press Enterprise Online. Press Enterprise. States plan suit over residential wood-burning stove standards. Published, July 3, 2023. Juneau, Alaska, AP, Attorneys General from 10 states. 10 blue states are planning to sue the EPA for failing to crack down on wood-burning stoves. Quartz. According to public health experts in the UK, a wood-burning stove is 450 times more polluting than a gas one. An electric stove is the least. Why 10 states want to sue the EPA over wood-fired stoves. Town Hall. And may result in some wood heaters being certified for sale that emit too much particulate matter pollution, the report said. AP. Just ask asthmatics how perilous wildfire smoke can be. The Washington Post. Combustion engines, industrial facilities and wood-burning stoves don't just pump out carbon dioxide, they also add pollutants that can inflame. 10 states plan to sue EPA over standards for residential wood-burning stoves. WRVO. But some states with the most wood smoke are refusing to go along. Juneau, Alaska, AP, Attorneys General from United States, alphabetical. Rosep view. Why are Arkansas County officials blocking a county judge's proposal to regulate residential wood burning and other residential burning? The county attorney wanted to end an Arkansas individual's conduct that neighbors don't appreciate and conduct that is polluting Arkansas's air. The people involved were 1. County Attorney John Howard told the committee that the proposal would regulate conduct that your neighbors don't appreciate, that's polluting your air. Setting a couch on fire, that wouldn't be criminal conduct, but it's conduct your neighbors don't appreciate that's polluting your air, your groundwater, your streams. Those are the things that are trying to be regulated here. 2. Garland, Arkansas County Judge Darrell Mahoney who proposed the regulation of burning. 3. Arkansas State Environmental Inspections Manager Shelley Tucker who receives 800 complaints about burning a year. County Judge Darrell Mahoney concluded after the proposal was voted down. Shelley, I guess you'll have to call somebody out at night when they're doing an illegal burn and go write a citation. 4. Who voted for Judge Darrell Mahoney's proposal to regulate burning on the county level. 3A, 2 Democrats. Justices of Peace within Hot Springs city limits. Justices of the Peace Thomas Anderson, D. District 2, and Esther Dixon, D. District 3, supported the ordinance. Their districts are entirely or mostly within the Hot Springs city limits. 5. Who voted against Judge Darrell Mahoney's proposal to regulate burning on the county level? 4A. For Republicans. Justices of the Peace Dayton Myers, R. District 7, Jason Brazil, R. District 8, and Debbie McGrew, R. District 10, opposed the ordinance. They represent mostly rural constituencies. 4B. They were joined by Jimmy Young, R. District 4, who represents the North Shore area of Lake Hamilton. 6. According to Dayton Myers, the rural justices of the peace were concerned about regulation of animal carcass burning. 7. Judge Darrell Mahoney replied to Myers that without this, county or local regulation, the same tickets can still be written, just in a different manner, Mahoney told the committee. If you're burning animal carcasses, you're still going to get a ticket. If you're burning household waste, you're still going to get a ticket. But it will be on the state statute and tie up more of our, state of Arkansas, resources. 8. The judge's proposal would have allowed permits to be issued at the county judge's discretion in cases of emergency and public interest. Fines of $100 to $500 could be levied under the ordinance's penalty section. The regulation was proposed as an addition to the county code's Fire Prevention and Protection chapter, which gives the county judge authority to prohibit open burning in the unincorporated area during dry weather conditions. 9. Residents against wood smoke emission particulates are interested in proposals such as these, since the burning ordinance apparently does not distinguish between indoor residential wood burning and open burning of wood. 10. If PM 2.5 monitors were used to collect data on particulate emissions which violate EPA limits on PM 2.5 from the fence line, the yard of a near neighbor, of a residential wood burner's stacks using the PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of near neighbors. In that way PM 2.5 data could be downloaded from either AirNow maps of smoke and fire or Purple Air maps during normal government working hours, without having to enter residences of indoor residential wood burners, nor check certification of wood stoves. In February 2023, the Office of the Inspector General, OIG, the watchdog of the EPA, reported that certification of residential wood stoves was flawed with loopholes that allowed highly polluting wood stoves to continue to be made and sold. The loopholes causing the flaw in certification were loopholes pushed by the wood stove industry. 11. Arkansas's criminal prohibition on unlawful burning covers fires that are started on or spread on other people's land. The criminal prohibition on unlawful burning does not cover the smoke, PM 2.5 and air pollution from residential burning on one's own land. The judge's proposal was intended to address that problem of wood and other burning smoke that starts on the burner's land but pollutes the air of neighbors and contributes to air pollution. 12. The sheriff's office said it enforces the state's criminal prohibition on unlawful burning. The statute focuses on fires started on or that spread to other people's lands. Failing to take the necessary precautions to prevent the spread of fire is also a violation of the statute, which carries a Class A misdemeanor penalty. Arkansas. Garland County officials block county judge's proposal to regulate burning. The Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. The Garland County Quorum Court Public Health, Welfare and Safety Committee's 4-2 vote at its June 26 meeting prevented the ordinance county judge. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity, and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. The proposal requires a permit issued by the county judge to burn household waste, construction debris, furniture or household goods, lumber, sawdust or processed wood products, cardboard or paper products, tires, roofing, plastics, rubber, styrofoam and other petroleum-based products, and animal carcasses. Garland County officials block county judge's proposal to regulate burning. JPs shoot down county judge's proposal to regulate fires. July 4, 2023. Hot Springs justices of the peace blocked a measure requiring a permit to burn a list of items in the unincorporated area of Garland County. The Garland County Quorum Court Public Health, Welfare and Safety Committee's 4-2 vote at its June 26 meeting prevented the ordinance county judge Darrell Mahoney proposed from advancing to the full quorum court. The proposal requires a permit issued by the county judge to burn household waste, construction debris, furniture or household goods, lumber, sawdust or processed wood products, cardboard or paper products, tires, roofing, plastics, rubber, styrofoam and other petroleum-based products, and animal carcasses. It would have allowed permits to be issued at the county judge's discretion in cases of emergency and public interest. Fines of $100 to $500 could be levied under the ordinance's penalty section. The regulation was proposed as an addition to the county code's Fire Prevention and Protection chapter, which gives the county judge authority to prohibit open burning in the unincorporated area during dry weather conditions. What brought this about was the sheriff's office went out to an illegal burn. Somebody had dragged their couch outside and set it on fire, Mahoney told the committee. They said there was not an ordinance they could write a ticket for. We're trying to find a way to stop that. Illinois to sue EPA over standards for residential wood-burning stoves. Chicago Tribune. Programs that encourage people to trade in older stoves and other wood-burning appliances, such as forced air furnaces, haven't necessarily. 10 states, including Illinois, plan to sue EPA over wood-burning stove standards. YouTube. Attorneys general from 10 states plan to sue the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, saying its failure to review and ensure emissions standards. Maryland. MD plans to sue EPA over residential wood-burning stove standards. WCBM. Plan to sue the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, saying its failure to review and ensure emissions standards for residential wood-burning. Massachusetts. Wildland firefighter recounts 2 weeks fighting wildfires in Canada. WBUR. James Contols says he will view the wildfire smoke in Massachusetts. Emissions standards for residential wood-burning stoves has allowed. Michigan, Grand Rapids. How smoke could impact your fireworks show. WOODTV.com. Grand Rapids, Michigan, wood, with fires still burning in Quebec and Ontario in Canada, more smoke may be heading towards West Michigan. New York, Long Island. Air quality health advisory issued for Long Island and New York City Metro. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Reduce or eliminate outdoor burning and attempt to minimize indoor sources of PM 2.5 such as smoking. A toll-free air quality hotline, 1-800-535. Ohio. Fire at Wood County landfill extinguished, little damage reported. BG Independent News. Smoke seen from fire at Wood County landfill Monday evening has been extinguished, according to Wood County Administrator Carrie Stanley. Vermont. VT, New York among 10 states that plan to sue EPA over standards for residential wood-burning stoves. KWCH. And ensure emissions standards for residential wood-burning stoves has allowed the continued sale of appliances that unduly worsen pollution. VT, New York among 10 states that plan to sue EPA over standards for residential wood-burning stoves. CACS. Wood-burning stoves has allowed the continued sale of appliances that unduly worsen pollution. Rosepview, wood-burning stoves called eco-stoves in the United Kingdom emit 450 times the PM 2.5 as natural gas burning. El Salvadoran rocket stoves and eco-stoves are still wood-burning stoves and highly polluting, but in the article below rocket and eco are touted as more efficiently wood-burning than normal El Salvadoran wood stoves, and are seen as the start of a solution to the problem of the adverse health effects of wood-burning stoves still used in rural areas of El Salvador. The preferred solution in Rosep's view would be solar stoves or stoves using natural gas, which emits 450 times less PM 2.5 than wood-burning. Liquefied gas seems to be available in El Salvador but seems to be considered expensive in rural areas. Perhaps a first step could be El Salvadoran government subsidies for liquefied gas. The new El Salvadoran president's successful fight against malaria, drop in homicide and murder rates in El Salvador in 2020, and control of gang activity may bode well for El Salvador to become a Central American country that ends indoor residential wood burning eventually, thereby protecting public health in El Salvador. The rest of this paragraph is from Wikipedia. Excerpts edited by Rosep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. The El Salvador presidency of Nayib Bukele, 2019 to the present. On June 1, 2019, Nayib Bukele became the new president of El Salvador. He represented Ghana, as he was denied participating with the newly formed Nuevas Ideas Party. ARENA and the FMLN, El Salvador's two main parties, had dominated politics in El Salvador over the past 3 decades. According to a report by the International Crisis Group, ICG, 2020, the homicide rates and murders in El Salvador had dropped by as much as 60% since Bukele became president in June 2019. The reason might have been a non-aggression deal between parts of the government and the gangs. The party Nuevas Ideas, NI, founded by Bukele, with its ally, Ghana, won around 63% of the vote in the February 2021 legislative elections. His party and allies won 61 seats, well over the coveted supermajority of 56 seats in the 84-seat parliament, allowing for uncontested decisions at the legislative level. The supermajority permits President Bukele's party to appoint judiciary members and pass laws with little to no opposition. On February 25, 2021, El Salvador became the first Central American country to be awarded certification for the elimination of malaria by the WHO. In 2022, Salvadoran government initiated a massive fight against criminal gangs and gang-related violence. State of emergency was declared on March 27. It was extended on July 20. More than 53,000 suspected gang members were arrested, meaning the highest reported incarceration rate in the world. Rosep View, 2 women in El Salvador, one aged 44 and one aged 58, are profiled in the article below on the health effects of using residential wood stoves for cooking as a way to earn money. Both women know about the health effects of wood burning, and both middle-aged women are afflicted with adverse health effects, but they continue using wood stoves to earn money. A third woman uses an eco-stove, which is a wood stove that is more efficient. This is obviously not a solution to the pollution of residential wood burning in El Salvador. A man has also studied the traditional use of wood burning to generate smoke by men to keep corn from being infected with insects when it has to be stored, which is viewed as a rural tradition. Americans, from affluent Americans to even indigent Americans who have subsidies for cleaner burning alternatives, turn to wood for ambience and recreation, and for some cooking. These Americans should be aware of the adverse health effects of wood burning, but perhaps the advertising of the wood stove industry in America drowns out any health information broadcasted to all Americans about wood smoke. Back in 2004, the World Health Organization, WHO, warned that about 1.6 million people were dying annually from charcoal and wood smoke used in cooking stoves in many developing countries. Is billionaire Elon Musk and our other protesters against regulation of charcoal and wood-burning pizzerias in New York City aware of the WHO warnings about charcoal and wood-fired cooking emission health effects and early deaths which have been publicized to the world for the last 20 years? There are 4 women interviewed for the article from El Salvador below. 1. A 44-year-old woman from El Salvador rural area cooks over a wood stove in the courtyard of her home in the hot months and inside over a wood stove in the cooler months. 2. A 58-year-old woman in the capital city of El Salvador cooks tortillas for sale, over a wood stove. She has been ill with lung ailments, one which took her away from her work for 3 months. 3. A woman pulmonologist, lung specialist, in El Salvador. She cites statistics about the adverse health effects and early deaths directly attributable to cooking over a wood stove. 4. A third El Salvadoran woman who cooks over a more efficient wood stove, called an eco-stove or a rocket stove. 5. A man who describes a traditional use of wood smoke in El Salvador. Men put corn over a wood smoking stove in order to protect the corn from pests. Central America. El Salvador, San Salvador. Wood smoke continues to make women sick in El Salvador. Interpress service. Interpress service. Ambient pollution, including wood smoke, plays a decisive role in respiratory diseases, especially among rural women, who do the cooking in line. Wood smoke continues to make women sick in El Salvador. A tortilla maker in San Salvador, the capital of El Salvador, takes a break from cooking corn in a pot that is over 3 feet high, heated by a wood stove. Many women in urban and rural areas run these small businesses, aware of the damage to their health caused by the smoke, but the economic situation forces them to use firewood, which is much cheaper than liquefied gas. Tuesday, July 4, 2023. Interpress service. Excerpts edited by Rosep for brevity and clarity, and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. San Luis La Herradura, El Salvador. A woman of El Salvador lit the fire in her wood stove and fried 2 fish, aware that the smoke she inhaled could affect her health. I know that the smoke can damage my lungs, because that's what I've heard on the news, but what can I do? The first woman said. Firewood, the fuel of the poor. I cook with firewood out of necessity, because I don't always have a job or money to buy gas, said the 44-year-old woman, referring to liquefied gas, a petroleum derivative used for cooking in 90.6% of Salvadoran homes. Ingrained habits and traditions lead families to cook with firewood, with negative repercussions on their health. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimated that in 2019 approximately 18% of global deaths were due to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and 23% to acute respiratory infections. Ambient pollution, including wood smoke, plays a decisive role in respiratory diseases, especially among rural women, who do the cooking in line with the roles of patriarchal culture. Back in 2004, the WHO warned that about 1.6 million people were dying annually from charcoal and wood smoke used in cooking stoves in many developing countries. In El Salvador, 29,365 cases of acute respiratory infections per 100,000 inhabitants were reported in 2022, well above the 19,000 reported in 2021. The woman fears that she might get asthma from exposure to the smoke. The woman has a gas stove she has inside her house, with a cylinder that lasts 40 days. When the gas runs out and she can't afford to refill, she has to cook with her wood stove. In her courtyard she keeps wood and a metal structure that holds her pots and pans. Official figures indicate that 5.9% of households in this Central American country use firewood for cooking. However, in rural areas the proportion rises to 12.9%, while 84.4% cook with gas and the rest use electricity and other systems. The woman has no steady job and is a single mother of 2 children. Right now I have run out of gas. I have to use firewood, she said. A cylinder of liquefied gas costs between $12 and $14. But in rural areas the proportion of poverty rises to 29.6%, and of these, 10.8% live in extreme poverty. In a country like El Salvador, many women suffer from respiratory diseases due to the effects of cooking with firewood. Meanwhile in San Salvador, the country's capital, a second woman runs her small tortilla-making business partly by using firewood. She uses wood left over from construction sites and sometimes buys it as well, at a cost of $1 for 3 tree branches. The second woman does not use gas to cook the corn as she can't afford it. That's why we prefer firewood. We don't like it, first of all because of the damage to our health, and also because our clothes have the smell of smoke and the walls of the house too, they look dirty. The second woman, 58, said we do it to save on the cost. The boiling pot was black from the wood smoke. Most households cook their food on gas stoves, but they don't make their own tortillas, because it is a complex and time-consuming process. That is why so many women, like the second woman, go into the tortilla business to meet the high level of demand, cooking the corn on wood stoves, in the open air in their courtyards. But during the May to November rainy season, they cook the corn inside the house, in a back room. 13% of rural Salvadoran households cook with firewood, which poses serious health risks. Chronic bronchitis and pneumonia. The second woman said that she fell ill with pneumonia in 2022, and she did not rule out that the cause could have been precisely the smoke she has been inhaling for decades, although she pointed out that the doctors who treated her did not inquire about it. Since I was a little girl I have been exposed to smoke, because my mother also used to make tortillas using firewood, she said. When she couldn't find dry branches, my mom would burn anything, old shoes, old clothes, or paper. When she got pneumonia, she had to stop working for 3 months, and she had to leave the business in the hands of her teenage daughter. Burning firewood releases toxic gases and polluting particles that end up causing ailments that in medical terminology are grouped together as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a woman pulmonologist in El Salvador said. These gases include carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide. We also see other harmful particles. There may even be hydrocarbons, because they not only burn wood, but also dry cow dung, corn cobs, paper, anything to make the fire, said the expert. Damage to the bronchi, or chronic bronchitis, and to the alveoli in the lungs, or pulmonary emphysema, are some of the diseases associated with exposure to smoke, including tobacco smoke, she added. Due to the burning of biomass, firewood and other products, the most frequent disease is chronic bronchitis, she said, and older women are the main victims. People with bronchitis have a constant cough or wheezing or shortness of breath because there is obstruction due to mucus plugs in the airway, she said. Patients, she added, feel tired and suffer from dyspnea or shortness of breath from low oxygen levels, which in severe cases requires hospital care. That's why I try to stay farther away from the smoke now, 58-year-old second woman said. But the smoke spreads through the house. For her part, the first woman, in her coastal village, has put her stove in the yard outdoors, to reduce exposure to smoke. She worries that she could suffer from asthma, like her sister. A third El Salvadoran, a resident of the coastal hamlet of El Salomar in southern El Salvador, cooks pasta for lasagna on an ecological stove called a rocket, which is much more efficient in producing heat and emits less smoke. This kind of stove has been used for decades in rural communities in the country, with good results in alleviating the health risks posed by wood stoves. But they have not become widespread, due to a lack of government investment and campaigns to encourage their use. Eco-stoves, an alternative. One possible answer to reduce exposure to smoke, especially in rural areas, is the spread of eco-stoves, which due to their combustion mechanism are more efficient in producing energy and release less smoke. These stoves have been around for decades in developing countries, including El Salvador, but they have not yet become widespread enough to make a difference, at least in this country. Canada, British Columbia, Coalwood. Olympic View fire extinguished by Coalwood crew thanks to helicopter assist. Goldstream Gazette. Smoke rises through the air near Olympic View golf course. Noting that outdoor wood-burning fireplaces are currently banned with coalwoods. United Kingdom. Air pollution is more deadly than you think. Wired UK IG News. IG News. More recently, we have found a link between rising air pollution levels, specifically 2.5 micrometer particles, known as PM2.5, from diesel. Europe. Most popular European cities exceed air pollution limits. The Jerusalem Post. The Jerusalem Post. Air pollution was viewed as fine, inhalable, particulate matter, or PM2.5. PM2.5 is described by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency as Germany. ROSUP view, you have to identify, or even sometimes pinpoint, a problem in order to solve it. The solution the German government is proposing is that all emissions of climate-damaging carbon dioxide would have to be paid for by those who caused those emissions. Fossil fuel burning is causing climate-damaging carbon dioxide, and reducing carbon dioxide from fossil fuel burning is included in Germany's climate goals. Therefore, following what the German government is proposing, fossil fuel burners should pay some sort of fine for their carbon dioxide emissions. The problem for ROSUP is that because industrial biomass, wood burning, plants and indoor residential wood burning emissions, which also cause climate-damaging carbon dioxide, are not counted because wood, biomass, burning is considered carbon neutral and renewable. Any polluting emissions from wood burning are not considered as pollution to reduce because wood burning emissions are not counted to begin with when determining if Germany is meeting its climate goals of reducing the count of emissions. Therefore, any talk by the German government requesting that carbon dioxide emitters pay a fine would not apply to biomass, wood, burning plants at this time. No country in the world's climate goals include reducing wood burning CO2 emissions as part of each country's climate goals. Japan is the only country in the world that began disclosing Japan's CO2 and PM2.5 emissions from biomass, wood, burning, in April 2023. Although disclosure does not mean the disclosed emissions are counted toward Japan's climate goals. Germany threatens to miss climate targets. Breaking latest news. Breaking latest.news. Why would heaters suck? Hashtag particulate matter pollution. Would heating air conditioning killer particulate matter? Jonas alert unsplash the federal. Germany threatens to miss climate targets. July 3, 2023. Excerpts edited by ROSUP for brevity and clarity, and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. Desaraslaw, EPD. According to a study by the Federal Environment Agency, UBA, Germany is in danger of missing its climate targets for 2030. The UBA announced on Monday in Desaraslaw that there was a lack of expansion in rail transport, a reform of vehicle tax and a restriction on fossil fuel heating. In addition, all emissions of climate-damaging carbon dioxide would have to be paid for by those who caused them. The study is based on investigations by the UBA in the so-called Climate Protection Instrument Scenario 2030, KIS 2030. It is determined how additional emissions can be saved in the building, mobility, energy, and industry sectors. According to UBA President Dirk Messner, the model calculation clearly shows that there is a lot of catching up to do in some sectors. In the transport and building sectors, for example, significantly greater efforts will be needed in the future to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the coming years. The climate protection instruments in these sectors on which the model calculation is based only meet the minimum requirements. There is now an urgent need for a constructive dialogue on where emissions can be reduced. At the same time, it must be discussed how financial burdens for lower income groups could be absorbed. Currently, households with low incomes are often disproportionately burdened. The Climate Protection Act provides for a 65% reduction in climate-damaging emissions by 2030 compared to 1990. Emissions are to be reduced by 88% by 2040 and net greenhouse gas neutrality is to be achieved in 2045. Human health and PM 2.5. For ways to make your barbecue grill better for your health and the environment this summer. The Washington Post. Burning gas has no flavor, but simply wrapping wood chips in foil on the grill gives food the same smoky essence associated with a barbecue and experts say, in the garden, wildfire smoke is not problematic. Climate change is 90.5 WISA. 90.5 WISA. Experts say the few days of smoke exposure the region experienced last week, in its composition, likening it to burning wood in someone's yard. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, see https://rawscpresidents.wordpress.com and click on the nearest right icon for the latest month, July 2023, of PDFs of articles with URLs to search on. To the right of that, stickers to hand out for RAWSEP https://rawcpresidents.wordpress.com/rawcp-sticker-templates-get-your-2 cents such as 1. Bingo for RAWSEP, 2. Crosswords for RAWSEP, 3. Endwood Smoke Jeopardy! 4. Endwood Smoke Monopoly Games, 5. A RAWSEP Flyer, 6. The Untwist It Game, and 7. Vending Machines for PM 2.5 Monitors, and icon links to 30-minute YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts as well as podcasts on Amazon Music Prime, free for Prime subscribers, podcasts.google.com, CastBox, and Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast is only free on the phone app. Pocket Cast works on Apple phones, and, below those icons, icon links to monthly PDFs of articles with URLs to search on, from June 2023 to May 2022.